And in my mind, I'm starting to think,
and say, welcome to the Tuck Shop Podcast. As always, I'm Matt Cernell, coming to you from the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown's dark cave I live in my office with no windows. David, how are you?
oh, I'm well. Yeah, in the cave, sure.
Hey, you know what?
It's warm.
The cave protects you from everything we've had in the last week.
Okay.
70-degree temperatures, tornado warnings, snow.
Yeah.
We've been all over the place. It was a interesting spring break.
See, I have a theory.
Okay, what's your theory?
Okay, and I've always got to give these theories up because, they're probably true or not.
Yeah.
So I think that the weather on campus is controlled by the wind turbines that they put over on the other side of the valley. And I think that there's like a button somewhere where it's too hot. You just turn the wind turbines up a little bit or turn them down.
Right.
Okay.
Can't prove it, but that's my theory.
This is 2 weeks in a row now. You've had a weird weather conspiracy.
Well, I think Dr. Spector has.
I'm learning a lot about you.
If I come in one day and I see him oscillating, then I know that they're on remote control.
I typically only do that oscillate when I've had too much coffee to drink.
Okay.
Before we welcome our guests, I know we have some events coming up that we want to keep reminding people of because registrations are starting to open up. Plenty of things going on.
Yep. So, when we hit spring, if ever, if we hit a steady spring, a lot of stuff coming up. April, chock full. Just had a little meeting a couple of days ago with Brian Houston and the engineers. So let's see if I get this right. It's the Engineering Mid-Atlantic
Steel Bridge and Concrete Canoe Competition.
It's going to be hosted here at UPJ. And I understand, he had said this is the first time they've done it in 6 years. And with the amount of work and stress, being an engineer, stress is a bad thing. I don't know that they're going to do it again. But nonetheless, what we're going to do is we're going to take advantage of that. We're going to try to get as many engineers to come back and hang out in the Muselin University Center where this competition is being held. Same thing, we're going to do a wine and cheese reception with faculty and alum on the 17th, and then the 18th. On the 18th.
18th is the reception.
On the 18th is a reception in the evening, but during the day we'll be there with our swag table, yearbooks, stuff like that. There will be a link going out shortly. We always ask, it's free, but we always ask that you RSVP to these things, just so we know what to expect. So that's on the 18th. The 25th is Athletic Hall of Fame. That site is out there. So if you're following the Hall of Fame athletics here, by all means, register for that. That does have a cost to it. Another free event we're doing is April 30th, Alumni Pub Night, 5 to 7 at Roland's in the Strip. That site hasn't gone out yet. Again, it's free. We'll give you a couple of drinks. We'll give you something to eat and give you, I'm sure, a lot of great conversation. And not only a good opportunity to get to see some people you haven't seen in a while, what a great networking opportunity. Hanging out down in the Strip. That site will be up soon. Got to let us know you're coming so that we know that you're going to be there. Also, I've totally glossed over this. Alumni elections start April 1st.
Correct.
So again, you got to keep your eye on your computer because that's going to also be on there. And then I guess I'm going to leave it at we got a golf outing coming up on the 29th of May. But that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother page on the calendar. So our April is full.
The one thing that I have on my calendar that doesn't really dovetail too nicely in with yours, but there could be some student, maybe some alumni engagement, is that on the 17th of April. So the kind of the kickoff for the engineering conference that day will be the Paths Forward Conference.
Right.
Dr. Wagner from Criminology and Social Science, we're hosting Senator Dush's team down here for an all-day anti-human trafficking event for the community, for public safety, for people who just want to learn more, because the more people that know what they're looking for, the better it gets to help stop this kind of stuff. And we got confirmation that The Attorney General, Dave Sunday, will be our keynote speaker for that event. So the Attorney General is going to be on campus that day, too. So that's going to be a busy weekend for you and me.
One last thing on that same weekend on the 18th, we will also be at the admissions open house.
Correct.
And the reason I mention that is we have seen, I guess it's an uptick. I guess it's a much larger group of alumni that are coming back, not to visit campus, but to have their children either
bring their kids
at the campus or after they've already been admitted. So if you're a parent of a student or a soon-to-be student, stop by the alumni table. We not only have alumni shirts, we have alumni parent shirts.
Specific,
free. We'll give those out as swag also. But it's we want people to fly the flag, wear the colors, get out, let people know that you're an alum.
Yep.
I mean, we've come a long, long way.
And as always, if you missed something, social media, the Facebook, the LinkedIn, email David and I. Our contacts down in the description of the show. Always reach out. We're glad to send you a link or send you the information.
I put something up on last couple of weeks ago. If you're in the area and you just want to stop in, call, email. I know this probably isn't what's the word I'm looking for? The best carrot on a stick, no pun intended. But hey, I'll give you a free lunch in the cafeteria.
Hey, lunch in the cafeteria is pretty fun.
For nostalgia, if nothing else. But yeah, I don't have any problem with that.
Yep. Actually, because we'll kind of let's talk about the cafeteria for a little bit, but while you and I reminisce about food, let's welcome our guest because he was all super excited when I mentioned the cafeteria right there. Ed Hartle, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So cafeteria got a big thumbs up from you there.
Yes, I always enjoyed the meals in the cafeteria. I thought they had a wide variety of things and, everything from salads to entrees. And of course, it was a lot of fun being there. Occasionally a food fight broke out, but we'll talk about that. But
you haven't probably seen the wood-fired pizza oven that he put in a couple years back.
No.
Yeah.
My history, I go way. You know how far I go back. I literally started UPJ in 1969, and a long time ago. I graduated high school in '69, and back in those days, there was actually, I think there was just Krebs and Biddle Hall.
Yeah.
Excuse me, there was North Hall and
Right.
South Hall,
Right.
which got named Biddle Hall and Krebs Hall. And then I think we had just the 2 or 3 dorms. And of course, the cafeteria was in the main building in the student union that had the tuck shop, which is kind of where you can get burgers. And mostly I love their peanut butter milkshakes, then of course in the cafeteria as well.
So let me ask a question. So then you're saying that the cafeteria food is doctor approved?
Yeah, doctor approved, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
For
Tuck
those
shop's another question.
Yeah, for those who can't see our guest, he actually is outfitted in scrubs
Medical
today.
doctor,
He was actually on
Right.
working today and took some time, left the patient on the table to come and talk to us.
That's right. Anesthesiologists are great. Don't be seen for a while. No, not really. Actually, I'm a pathologist, and specimens sometimes come in, skin specimens come in to look at. So there may be another specimen come in, which might take me away for just a moment or two. But I was not expecting to work today, but I ended up needing to. So
Because you're retired, correct?
in theory, I finished full time January 31st. My replacement starts Monday, so I'm working part time until the end of June, and then I'll be just as needed. And I'm 74. I like what I do. I really enjoy it, and it's time to phase down. It's hard for me to go from 100 to 0, frankly.
Yeah.
I just have
And this is the facility is. Am I correct? Is it Lake Norman? Am I close?
It is Duke. Yes, it is Duke Health, Lake Norman Hospital. Duke purchased our facility about a year ago,
Okay.
and now it's. I'm a Duke clinical faculty now.
Okay.
And before we were owned by Community Health Systems, which is a big corporation that owns multiple hospitals. So I'm a clinical faculty of Duke, and what I do each day is I basically I'm a microanatomist. I'm one of those nerdy guys who sits in his office, and looks in a microscope and drinks coffee.
So
And then the joke is I walk out into a laboratory of adoring females, so I have a very good job.
You'll have to make sure you calibrate it. You're talking to a geographer and a journalism major, so we're
right. Gotcha. Right.
But I'll give you my
right.
age. When I hear the word pathologist, you know what I think? Quincy. I think
Yes,
Jack Klugman.
yes.
I think that was he was cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
no.
Remember-
The sad thing is, I know what you're talking about. That's the problem.
Actually, I remember it's a great show.
Yeah.
He gave forensic pathology a good light, I think, because of the many the things he did, actually. Because a lot of it was pretty interesting, and the first time it was made people faint too, I'm sure. But,
So
yeah.
let's go back. So you said you came through here. It's the 1969. Why did you come to UPJ?
Yeah, actually, it's interesting. I went to Chestnut Ridge High School, across the hill. Grew up in Pleasantville, Allen Bank, 350 people, very small town. Dad built a town post office in our front yard. We walked 20 feet to work. That's how small my hometown is. Or my sister would say, the town's so small when they have a parade, they have to lap the block twice, in order to get enough distance. So very small town. Walked 200 yards to school through the farm behind our house. And then looking at colleges, I knew I wanted to go to college. My mentor was my uncle John Hartle, was a doctor at Everett. I knew I wanted to do that. Then the question, frankly, I did look at Bucknell and different places like that. And my dad said, Pitt's a great school. It's across the hill. You should go there. And I said, sounds good to me. Yeah, and actually, my uncle had gone there. He had also, after World War II, he's one of that greatest generation World War II veterans, then went to Pitt's med school. And I had friends that had gone there, but really liked it. So it was a really very easy choice for me, frankly, to go to UPJ. Yes. And I started out going as a commuter briefly. Then I lived in an apartment in Scalp briefly. Then I actually moved into the dorm. Yes.
What was your major when you came in? Did it change, or did you always? You're like, nope, this is exactly what I'm going to do. And
I went from biology to chemistry back to biology, pretty much. I was pre-med. I basically wanted to be a doctor. I kind of decided on that when I was maybe 11th grade.
Okay.
Now what is interesting, and then I spent 2 years at my initial 2 years at UPJ. I was very active in Phi Delta Psi fraternity.
Which was prior to Delta Chi, correct?
Which became, and I think I met you at the
Delta Chi 50
over at that was Westmont. Was that
Sunny Hannah?
I think. Right, I met you there. Yeah, so then I was a founding father of Delta Chi. Also played baseball. I was on a baseball team. Played under Coach Kuiper. Pitched baseball both then and when I came back. When I left for the Army, I'll tell you about that later. So I paid for Coach Kuiper. I was a UPJ ambassador. I wrote sports for the newspaper. I pretty much did everything. It was just one of those guys that did everything. So my 2 years, I'd done fine through 2 years, and then I was a 19-year-old junior because I started school when I was 5, and yeah, I know that's essentially they didn't have kindergarten in Chestnut Ridge, so I started first grade when I was 5. So I did on paper I was just fine, but I was just too young. So what I did, my sophomore year, my grades, to describe my grades as subhuman would be generous. I was doing awful, although I'd done well for 2 years, I was doing awful. Then what to do? I basically dropped out before I ended up counting. So, frozen section? Yes. I'll be looking at these slides. I'll be going on mute for just a second, okay? Thank you.
Not a problem.
Won't be long.
Okay. We'll pick up there.
I'm just glad we got a slacker on as an interviewee today.
Yeah. Well, no, that's the kind of the fun part of this. No, we got some cool stuff. Kind of looking at the calendar. The golf tournament's always kind of cool. I'm real excited. I'm going to try to get somebody on from either Dr. Wagner or somebody from Senator Dush's office to talk to us for a little bit to kind of, because it's a cool thing to have them coming on to campus. And then when you and I met last week working with Brian Houston around. This is a big, they're expecting hundreds of people for this competition for engineering.
I mean, this is, when you look at this, I guess it could be called the Super Bowl of concrete canoes.
Well, did you pick up when we were walking through and they were talking about the steel bridge? Like, I didn't, in my brain, because I built bridges in middle school, drafting class and stuff. And I'm thinking balsa wood.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, we start at 2,500 pounds.
Yeah,
and I'm like, that's a ton and a half or a ton and a quarter.
And the interesting,
of weight.
And the interesting thing that the way he described it is, well, this is where they're going to put the weight on the bridges. This isn't really that exciting. And in my mind, I'm starting to think, so this is the competition part. This is where they started. And then he threw down the 2,500 pound starting limit. And I thought to myself, I'd like to see that, 2,500 pounds on a bridge, and then, where does it get to the point where, it starts to crack or it starts or doesn't?
Yeah.
How high do they go? I mean, that I thought, from a spectator sport. I'm sure the building of the bridges. I know he had said what they give them an hour.
You have an
hour limit,
but it's graded on score is also how many people and how fast,
and how quick.
So the faster you go with the least amount of people and the weight, I guess is what goes into it.
And he had said what some teams can do it in 9 minutes. Can build a bridge in 9 minutes.
Yeah. It's just like, because like I said, and I don't know what I was expecting. I guess my brain was still calibrated to, like I said, the little balsa wood bridges. It's like
that's what I had in my mind. The same thing when he said
a
bridge competition. Yeah, I started to think popsicle sticks, glue, and you built these things at the playground when you were a kid, or in some summer class or something.
And yes, he says steel bridge, and I'm thinking like a Rector set. That kind of scale, not necessarily here's an erector set like it's a toy, but like here's the scale. Yeah. No, he's showing us lines that are probably 30 feet
long.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I mean,
it's gonna be neat to see.
Yeah, I think even that I've always even gone to school here. I always had that. Still yet, I don't think I've ever seen a concrete canoe float.
No,
like I never had that opportunity to
They're
go.
They're going to have drone footage of that. We don't
to go competition to see that.
Yeah,
but that's trying to get through my head to try to sift through. You say the word concrete.
Yeah,
you say canoe, built by. When I went to school, you went to school here. It was built by people your age, your counterparts.
Yeah,
they were putting together something like canoe that was made out of concrete, or to your point, a steel bridge that could hold minimum of 2,500 pounds.
Yeah,
I mean that's pretty impressive.
It's pretty wild. And he's talked a good bit. It just kind of didn't register in my brain. Now, what he did not tell us until we met with him, until we found out this last week when we met with him, is that the start time 6:30 in the morning. He did not share that with us up until this point.
Yeah.
So
and he was serious about that.
Oh no, the schedule, we saw it.
Yeah, he wasn't like, we did it like 6:30.
Yeah, we'll be here, and kind of we get warmed up, and if you want to come in about 8, it's like no 6:30.
Yeah.
Game on.
Yeah, long day.
It's going to be a long day, because he was saying that some of their stuff will go through midnight.
Yeah, I know that we're going to do like I said, the mixer is 6:30 to 8:30. So that and they still have stuff planned after that. So.
Yeah.
Yep. It should be a good time.
All right. How did everything turn out? All right.
Actually, I can hear you guys. Yeah. What I was doing, actually, I looked at a doctor's office. I'll talk medicine. I'll bore you all to tears just for a second. But like skin cancers, they'll send for frozen section, typically send it once it's done. This time there continue to be positive margins. And so that's what the Murphy's Law is. That's why it's taking me longer than usual. Still a positive. He's now going to send additional for permanent sections that will not be freezing. So just one of those things. But I'm back. So he's done what the additional specimens I get will be in formalin for permanent sections, and they'll come out tomorrow, and I'll look at them. So I'm back.
That's good. Good, you took the right. As somebody who, because of the medicine regimen I'm on, I'm a very susceptible now from the transplant skin cancer. So take your time.
Oh yeah.
Because I tell you what, if I hear that my doctor was distracted by two idiots on a podcast, I was gonna
we have 100 things going on all the time. You just focus. And I tell you, I honestly learned this from Little League, focus and throw strikes.
Nice.
I was a baseball pitcher from the time I was 9 up through college at UPJ, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you say that till the subpoena comes.
That's right. Right.
Before you had to go and actually do real work, you were talking about how after your kind of sophomore year, your grades had been not what you would have hoped.
Actually, that's a very generous assessment, by the way. I was basically I think my last test I got back was a 25 in calculus, and I had an A this term before. So I sat down with my parents, and we talked. This is fall of '72 now, right? No, it was fall of '71. Vietnam's in full force, right? Okay. And I realized I had a choices early on. If I stayed in school, I was just going to destroy my GPA. So I dropped out before any of it counted. I was early enough for any of it counted. And then I actually looked at different options. And one, I joined the Army. I was in the Army Medical Corps in laboratories. I was in for 4 years. It was a great decision. My folks supported me. My mom Mom was not very happy. The joke was if she could just yell loud enough, I wouldn't go,
No.
Yeah.
But I was stationed in Texas and California in the Army. I learned to fly an airplane, sail a sailboat. I went to college. Then I came back in spring of '76, and I could focus a hole through a wall. I mean, I was just a little more mature. I was married, happily married at that point, and I came back and kicked butt. They did very, very well. And then I got into med school at Hershey my first time. I started in fall '77. And interesting, I had to take MedCats in March of '76 in order to qualify to get in the fall '77. So I hadn't been in college in 4 years. So I sat down in the chair 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for 2 months and reviewed my 2 years of college. I pretty much taught myself physics, basic stuff,
Yeah.
and did very well on MedCats. And then I did fine when I finished. I received what is called the Marquet Bloomer Award. At that point, was the outstanding pre-med student UPJ. In fact, it's up here on my wall, actually.
Nice.
And then I went to Hershey. When I was back, I actually played baseball again. When I went back, Coach Caper, I think it's probably against the rules, but we weren't going to the NCAA, right?
Yeah, right.
I went back and played baseball again. In fact, my last hurrah was I pitched that. I shut out the Naval Academy for 3 innings in the spring of '77. And then I went off, and I wasn't good enough to play pros.
So do you have that box score anywhere?
I do not.
In a frame.
I just have the memory. Have the memory.
Okay.
So,
did you at least let him know you were Army?
While
you were.
I did. I let him know it was regular Army, college dropout, regular Army. Yeah, so I may be the only college dropout you guys ever interviewed. I'm not really sure, but did fine in medical school. Then I actually pursued an internship in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Old style rotating internships. I flew after patients in airplanes, in helicopters. I did everything you think of. Then I did 2 years of emergency medicine in Charlotte. I got bored in emergency medicine, set up the emergency flight service there. Then I was an attending in the department. Then I went out in private practice. Then I went back and did pathology. I got tired of emergency medicine. Then I was in Chapel Hill from '92 to '97, and I've been here since. So, and I've moved back we live in the beautiful Davidson, North Carolina. I practice in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Okay.
And it's been a good ride for me. And I'm ready to just do PRN. I'm ready to let someone else take the ride. Just like I said, my replacement starts on Monday. So, yeah, but I have good memories of UPJ. I went back. I had an ancient group of friends in Delta Chi. Was part of all that scene. I played baseball. And actually, people there really believed in me. There's a few names. Does the name Lowell Schaefer mean anything?
Yeah, good old Dr. Lowell.
We both know Lowell.
Absolutely.
Great guy. I went back to UPJ, and back at those points, just no one dropped out of college and came back. Like I did, particularly go to med school. So he was a person. Everyone was very nice, really, but he really believed in me. He told me how happy he was to see me back and welcome me back, and knew I'd do well, and anything I can do to help. Just a wonderful, wonderful man. And he's one of those people that made a difference by his attitude, very much.
And when Lowell said something like that, he meant it.
Yes.
I mean, there was a sincerity to Dr. Schaefer that, it's just never too busy to say something like that.
And David, you and I have talked about that. Part of why I wanted to start this show coming up on 3 years now is people like Lowell Schaefer, people like Bill Corey, people like that have
Bruce Hasselrig.
Bruce Hasselrig, well, Bruce is still here, but don't tell Bruce.
But there's still.
Put a fine in the jar.
I didn't mean it in memoriam.
No. But that those stories get lost, and it's a memory to us. But there's people who don't know that these were folks who
I knew.
Meant so much.
Dr. Biddle. Dr. Biddle.
Yep.
Theodore Biddle. I knew him. And Dr. Carol Grimes, who was
Carol Grimes,
Carol. Yep.
She was here well into the 80s, 90s.
Yeah, she was, and I went back to see her. Actually, and back to say hi. And I was English. The joke was English is a second language to me, although I'm born here. Yes, and writing was not my forte, and she really helped me with that. I learned a lot from her. Science department was really very nice. Interesting things happened. I remember. I think this must have been fall '71. I was talking to Dr. Biddle in the hall. And Jesse Owens came through campus.
Okay.
Wow.
Jesse Owens, and he was touring. And I was telling, I'd read books about great black athletes, Althea Gibson, Jesse Owens, Bob Gibson, all those folks. And he said, well, I'll get you to meet him. So Jesse Owens came in and actually he introduced me to Jesse Owens, the great sprinter, good man. So that was an interesting thing that happened as well.
Oh, wow.
Also, Captain Jack Fetchko was also a baseball coach I played in. Captain Jack was a retired Marine, was there, and I think he was in administration. He coached baseball, so I played for him. And then, of course, I played for Coach Kuiper. Yeah, so I had a very good experience at UPJ.
And you came here when the campus still had that new campus smell.
Oh, yeah.
It was brand new. And I always, we had a guest on a couple of weeks ago, and it was the same thing. When you came in that era, you were really coming into an unknown.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a regional campus. Sure, there's that Pitt moniker, that Pitt brand, but you could have started in, 70, and by 73, they could have been packing it up. I mean, you really didn't know. College wasn't what it is.
Well, when I dropped out, UPJ was a 2-year. When I came back, it was
4-year. Yeah.
So I was able to finish.
Yeah.
Which actually obviously worked out really very well for me. So, yeah, and it was actually interesting stories. I was a member of Delta Chi, and I was in a scout troop at St. Mark Catholic in Huntersville, North Carolina, and was talking to this guy who's from, I forget Dan's last name, but he went to UPJ, and we turned out we're in the same fraternity. We were in 201 Maple Hall. Maple Hall. And then he said, what's your name? And I gave my name. He said, you're a name I had to memorize.
Oh, yeah, right. For the fraternity. Sure.
Yeah. You're old when you're a name someone has to memorize, because I was basically it was a dinosaur, So,
but that's that connection, though. That's that, what do you love about this job, doing alumni relations, is when you see two alum get together and tell the story, they connect, and it's just, or to your point, you bump into someone that you're wearing a hat or a shirt and someone says,
right.
You're on vacation somewhere, UPJ, wait a second.
Yeah.
I went to school there, and you're just, really? And it's, because we've come that far, I think.
I want to see if someone needs me. I'll be right back.
All right, sure.
I promise I'll be right back.
No problem. But that is a thing we've talked about it, and that's actually an interesting point that we kind of, I guess, gets lost, especially, and that's why the interviews are so fun. Is we're here every day, you and I, but you really didn't know in those early, like they were investing, but maybe was it always going to be a 2-year program?
Yeah. You didn't know where it was going to go. I mean, we're on the precipice of 100 years since this university's been founded in Johnstown. But you look at, I often say this, and you ask, alum, when you were sitting in ENS auditorium or when you were in Biddle Hall, did you see yourself 50 years from now doing this or doing, you know what I mean? Or you don't know.
No, you just don't know. I mean, it's interesting, a couple of things, difference between when I started and when I went back. When I started, I have a test, but boy, that girl is really good looking. What parties are this weekend and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I came back, I was married and focused, and then I just did the studies I need to do. Honestly, my best story, the first person I met in August of '69 when I sat down at freshman orientation was a guy named Jim Sharbaugh, who's went to Pitt, then went to main campus. And I said, he's the only out person in the world more outward going than I am. That's a joke. And we became instant friends. I went to visit his house in Carrolltown. My first wife, who passed in '94, was a picture in his yearbook. So Jim, we became very close friends. He was going to be a best man at our wedding, but then he wasn't able to come. Then he came later. I said, still come and drink. You don't need to be best man. So, and then he eventually married my sister, of all things.
Oh, wow.
So and then we went back to the alumni reunions for Delta Chi. Yeah. So our friendship started in '69, and then he passed 2 years ago during COVID. But nonetheless, that's the connection of, we were in Phi Delta Psi together, we're in Delta Chi together, and then he married my sister. So we have this connection to go on. Of course, he introduced me to my first wife. I was married from '73 until '94, and then I've been remarried for 30 years. So had Martin still be alive, I'd be married for 53 years rather, in June. Yeah. So nonetheless, that's kind of the story. Then I have other friends from UPJ as well. I might have mentioned I was in Ben and Jerry's. I had a UPJ baseball hat and UPJ baseball T-shirt, and the guy came up to me and said, "You went to UPJ, right?" I said, "Yes, I did." And had a nice conversation, you know.
Yeah.
So lots of people from Pennsylvania here. Oh, and the joke is when you go see the Panthers play the Steelers, there's more black and gold in the stands.
Sure. Okay, I will dovetail in us wrap it up. So, David, we were just talking about some. There's going to be a little weird, interesting edit here. Dr. Hartle got called away, so we're going to. But we had actually a good bit of his story, and we're hopefully next time he's on campus we can have him back on. But certainly a fascinating story and talk
Absolutely.
about. It's kind of neat going away and coming back and doing so in a way that then made him a very in-demand doctor.
Absolutely. Even in retirement.
David, I want you to have a great week. Everyone else, you as well, have a great week, and we will talk to you next Wednesday. The Tuck Shop podcast is recorded live on the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown campus. Update your contact information with us by visiting johnstown.pitt.edu/alumni. Connect with us online via Facebook and LinkedIn, or consider donating to the university at give2, that's giveto.pitt.edu/giveupj.
This has been a production of Quantum Wave Media. Views expressed do not necessarily reflect the opinion of the University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown.